The Talksport Fan Network.
The ultimate on-demand destination for the UK's best fan-led football podcasts.
Want authentic supporter insight on all things Bournemouth? Follow Up the Cherries in all departments on the Talksport Fan Network.
Club-dedicated content created by the fans, for the fans.
Search Talksport Fan Network.
Welcome to the Up the Cherries preview for the Wolves game. Now, please, if you're new here, hit the like, subscribe and the bell button below. It helps this channel to grow. Now, anybody who knows us already will know that that's not Dave from Talking Wolves. How are you doing, Matt?
Yeah, not bad. It's nice that you've asked me to come on to a match preview. Don't normally do these. I was expecting someone like Robert Plant to be a guest this week, but he ended up with me. So, but hey ho.
Well, of course, Wolves, a side that we played a little while back, but of course, they had a different manager back then. And I tell you what, everybody's going to turn around and say, well, you go on about him all the time and you know who we're talking about. So I'm not going to talk about him. You're going to talk about him. What did you make of his time at Wolves? Yeah.
What do I make of his time at Wolves? Well, okay. Last season, I think he did a fairly decent job, considering he was chucked in there sort of last minute, wasn't he? I think it was the eve of the season, wasn't it? A couple of days before the season started, he was chucked in there. And as we know, and people that watch the channel, we do a tier list every season. And, my prediction was that Wolves would go down this season. To be honest with you, I don't think really towards the end of his tenure at Molineux, he had the players on the side. I don't think the players were playing for him, really. The odd game that I saw. When we played him last time, I mean, I thought Wolves were awful, to be honest, on the day. He did a job at Bournemouth. He did the job. He was never a long-term solution. Obviously, what we've got now, in comparison to what we had in Gary O'Neill, is 110 times, thousands of times better. But his time at Wolves this season, I just thought from the very off, you stick with this manager, you are going down. And that's as a coach, I rate Gary O'Neill. I think he's a great coach. As a manager, I think he may need to sort of possibly go down a league, maybe. But yeah, in terms of Wolves, I think he would have taken them down this season.
Yeah.
I stand by that. I stood by it on the tier list. I fought my corner between I think it was you, me, and Manny, wasn't it? And I was adamant they would go down, and I still say now that if he was in charge there, they would probably be in the relegation zone. But in terms of what he did at Bournemouth, he kept us up. That was his brief, to keep us in the Premier League, which he did. The football wasn't overly enjoyable, but he did the job. And the club made the right decision by making the change. And I think you'll find that if you speak to probably the majority of Wolves fans, they will say that the club made the right choice by changing him when they did.
100% from me. And as much as I've been a big fan of his, I think that, he did a job for him last season, got some fantastic results. He did a job for us, kept us in the Premier League. This season, we've seen a little bit of a different side to him. And maybe we made the right call when we did. Sometimes hindsight is a wonderful thing, and I think back and I think, oh wow, I was so disappointed, sang his praises, but yeah, this season he's not had the dressing room. He's not, players like Mario Lemina, and of course he's had his problems with Cunha as well and other members of the squad. When a manager loses the dressing room, it's game over pretty much. And unfortunately, he didn't have the personality to pull that round. We've seen managers turn it round, but they have to turn it round very, very quickly. And yeah, they made the right call. They made the right call. Of course, going into this game, and we've spoken about our form. Our form is excellent, apart from that Liverpool blip. But let's just focus on Wolves for the moment. And um, their last two performances have been pretty good. The Liverpool defeat, but also that Aston Villa win.
Yeah, I mean, the Aston Villa win, I didn't actually see that game, but I did watch the Liverpool game. And I think that's the first game I've actually seen them under this new manager, and they look a different side.
Yeah.
Not many teams can say they've gone to Anfield and had the most of the possession. The possession was, I think, 49% for Liverpool, 51% for Wolves, which I think if you'd had a different manager in the dugout there, I don't think you would have kind of seen that kind of possession stat. And I mean, their shots as well has even gone up under this guy. I mean, I think they had 16 shots at Anfield. So, they've gone to a place like Anfield and had more shots than Liverpool, more possession than Liverpool, and more shots on target than Liverpool. So this is where, for me, when they come to Dean Court, I mean, the cup game's a different game, but just concentrating on the league, this is the most important of the two games for Wolves.
Yeah.
And I think we're going to see a different outfit to what we saw earlier on in the season at Molineux, just from the Liverpool game. And when you look at their season stats, their pass accuracy has gone up under this new manager. So the percentage of tackles won as well has also gone up by the looks of it under this new manager. So they're obviously playing for the manager now. And they're obviously playing, to stay up. They know they got a fight on their hands, and this manager's come in and he's whatever he's done, and he's improved them across the board. When you look overall, though, the overall stats of the season, they've played 25 and they've only won 5 with 16 losses. That is why they are where they are, and you can see why they made the change in manager when they did. They've scored 35 goals and conceded 54. So
yeah,
you can see why they've made the change when they did, and you can see the impact that the manager's having now since he's come in. So yeah, I mean, when you look at the Liverpool game, like I said, I didn't see the Villa game. Maybe you saw the Villa game, but I didn't see the Villa game. But from what I saw at the Liverpool game, I was very impressed with them. I thought it was a different side. And I sat there watching it thinking, they're a different side to Southampton.
Yeah.
And the formation they play is a similar formation to Southampton, I think, if I remember rightly. So, yeah, they play 3 across the back, 4 midfield, 3 up front. So, but I think that they suit that. And I think that they're going to give us a game. I don't think they're going to struggle with that kind of formation like Saints struggled first half, definitely struggled with that 3 across the back. I don't think they're going to struggle like Saints did. But they're definitely going to give us a game. And that man, their number 10.
Matthias Kun, yeah.
What a player. What a player. I mean, that finish at Liverpool. Did you see the goal he scored at Liverpool?
Yeah, it was outstanding.
That's the man. That's the main danger man that we've got to make sure that, we keep quiet. And obviously, the likes of Christie, Zbarnier, Howson, they'll be the men, Tyler Adams, they'll be the men that will have to break him down and keep him quiet. And because you give him any kind of space and he can kind of create something. He's a very, very talented player. I'd be very, very surprised if he survives another transfer window at Molineux, to be honest with you. But he's obviously their main danger man that we got to keep quiet. But but yeah, like I say, totally different side. And I think they're definitely going to give us a good game. I still think that we will edge it. We'll beat them, but I think they're going to be up for the fight.
Well, yeah, most definitely. We will talk about the Cherries in a moment, but we do have, coming from Paris and the Arc de Triomphe, we do actually have Dave Azzopardi from Talking Wolves, and here's what he thinks ahead of this game.
Hi guys, it's Dave from Talking Wolves. Craig, apologies that I can't jump on to be on the channel this time round. As you can see, I'm somewhere a little bit more scenic. I'm in Paris with the Arc de Triomphe behind me. But yeah, I'm looking forward to this weekend. Bournemouth, of course, have had a fantastic season so far. I'm sure you guys have got European aspirations as well, which, you know, is fantastic for someone outside of the sort of traditional top 6, top 7, as it was when Wolves got into those European places, which seems like a lifetime ago now. But it's been a bit of a struggle this season for Wolves. Of course, we had Gary O'Neill, your former manager. We had a discussion about him last time for the reverse fixture, which, you know, we were awful at Molineux when you guys came there. Things have seemed to improve under Vítor Pereira, but ultimately under Gary O'Neill, his time had come to an end at the club. He probably held on to that job a little bit longer than expected, to be completely honest. Of course, a lot of your fans, not everybody, because I know, Craig, you were fairly complimentary of Gary, but a lot of your fans sort of realised and sort of appreciated how much of an upgrade Iriola was on Gary O'Neill. But yeah, his time had come to an end, really. You know, he started to throw the players under the bus. They weren't playing for him. It was a real struggle. Vítor Pereira has come in. Of course, a very intriguing CV, but has got a lot of experience. And at the moment, we're headed in a more positive direction. Things aren't perfect just yet. But, you know, he seems to be getting a noise out of players. He seems to be getting a little bit more morale and encouragement out of the squad, which we hadn't had before. Very fixed formation with 5 at the back or 3 at the back, depending on how you look at it, with 2 central midfielders and 3 forwards. We've had a couple of injury problems as of late. Probably our best centre-back was one of the January signings, Emmanuel Agbadou. He's probably going to be out for this game. The striker, Jorgen Strand-Larsen, has been out injured, but may return for this weekend's game as well. But of course, the star of the show throughout the whole season really has been Matheus Cunha. You know, you guys have come up against him a few times now, and I'm hoping that he'll turn up again on Saturday. But, you know, it's going to be a tricky game for Wolves. I don't think many Wolves fans are going into it full of confidence. I think there's always going to be a little bit, because sometimes you're thinking, is Bournemouth's strong run going to come to an end? Possibly not, especially with you guys at home. A little bit frustrated that we've got you in the FA Cup again, of course, which is frustrating to play you so close to that. But ultimately, I'm hoping for a good game. I've got to back my team and say Wolves are going to edge it 2-1, but it could go 2-1 either way. I think Bournemouth is strong enough. Fair play to you guys and the manager for having a really, really strong season. But yeah, guys, all the best for the rest of the season. Well, I suppose after Saturday and after the following Saturday in the FA Cup as well.
So there we are. We've heard what Dave thinks ahead of this match. I think, you know, I honestly think that this is going to be a completely different match to that game earlier on in the season. When you look at where they were at the time, you know, they conceded the most goals across the whole of the Premier League. They haven't anymore. So the new manager has managed to kind of stabilize them a little bit. Yeah, they have had some still. They're not having the 6 goals go against them, or the 4 against us, or the 5 against Brentford. The 6 goals, of course, was from Chelsea. So they've stemmed that. But they're still having a few bad defeats, but they look a lot more solid in those last 2. Just very quickly, and we'll cover off the Cherries. You can't really change a winning side, can you, really?
No, not really. I mean, I think, and I don't think he will change unless his hand is forced. I mean, the good thing again from the Saints game was obviously that we had a bit more depth on the bench.
Yeah.
It is meant to be. I've seen some articles today that have said that James Hill is set to be possibly in contention to make the squad for Saturday. And I believe Julian Urehu is not too far away from potentially making a comeback sort of towards the end of towards sort of like possibly for the cup game.
Yeah.
So that's good. That will give us some more depth. But yeah, in terms of the starting 11, and I said the same thing for on our Southampton reaction earlier on in the week. You know, you can't really change the winning side. But it's good to see that there's a bit more depth on the bench to give Andoni some more options if he needs to make some changes throughout the game. But yeah, no, I would imagine it'd be the same 11 that started against Saints.
Yeah.
That will start. And like I say, unless, you know, heaven forbid, there's any sort of last minute sort of knocks or niggles that he may need to make a change. But then again, if he is forced to, whoever he brings in, we know he's going to put 110% in. That's just how this squad rolls this season. So yeah, it'd be the same starting 11.
Yeah, most definitely. Well, I tell you what, before we let you go, we are going to do our predictions, but here's a little bit about our sponsors, Dental on the Banks. Find out more about them, visit dentalonthebanks.co.uk, and thank you to our other sponsor, Touchpoint Telecoms, and you can visit them at touchpointtelecoms.co.uk for all your business telecom needs. Go check out them and get in contact with Mark and the team there. But prediction time, Matt. Right, what we going with?
2-1 win Bournemouth for me. Like I say, they're going to give us a game. They're going to dig in. Potentially, it's going to be. It could be one of those games where we've kind of got to be patient. But yeah, I think we'll edge it 2-1.
And you are a mind reader, although we already knew what we was actually going for because we did cherry picking as well. And I have gone for a 2-1 win as well myself. So yeah, it's going to be a lot tougher. They're a tougher side to break down now. It shows what a manager who has got the players on side can do. I think that he still probably needs reinforcements there. Of course, he hasn't got any at this until the summer. But I think Wolves will be fine, and I hope Wolves will be fine. You know, I do like Wolves fans. So, yeah, I'm going to go with a 2-1 Cherries win, but Wolves will stay up. And, of course, we've got to do all this again next week because we got them in the cup as well.
But we will have Robert Plant from Led Zeppelin joining us.
Exactly. Robert, if you see your emails, get back to me and we'll see you on the next show. But we'll also see you on the next show as well. Thank you for joining me and Matt on this opposition preview show. Hope you've enjoyed it. See you next week.
The Talksport Fan Network.
The ultimate on-demand destination for the UK's best fan-led football podcasts.
Want authentic supporter insight on all things Bournemouth? Follow Up the Cherries in all departments on the Talksport Fan Network.
Club-dedicated content created by the fans, for the fans.
Search Talksport Fan Network.